Sangma la samre dashi dele shuguye.
Uh, Tashidele to everyone.
Ngöndro beja de nyamdo songro nang.
Please follow me chanting the wonder text.
Guru Bema Bao Gandro Zodan Tamje Kungarda Sonda Ge Ngaje Loy Tuje Gomba Rekba Ran Sharje Ngu Tala Dede Dadrilje Chadan Siljembe Dunje Namgaran Jembaran Juru Jelama Gandzo Namje Medala Do Jeze Dada Gam Zum Zem Jena Sem Loma Denje Ngando Nal Desenen Bena Waraja Mando Jor Bezem Jela Purare Do Benal Jorne Shinga Jene Zojembe Palamanje Jeje Jone Lungaye Danyo Nene Bar Dünde Zam Gombe La Ba Le Jawa De Jidalanju Nere Nyam Gejendero Tarajen de Ngöndro Bai Telamangan de Zonamji Medage Gozum Jengelo Medage Gozum Jengelo Medage Gozum Jengelo Lazo tenen dene lungku dok salgo ba yinza ne longro de nyamdo saro na yugi.
Okay, next is the exhalation of the stale breath. So please follow me in doing this practice.
Lazo tenen deja la ne sozo chizo do nama gurumba jala ngo tsawe lama kom de la solo tseje do tango gure ne solde do zo ne choy yang da ban rube da ne danda ngondro nyamlen je yung de ne ngondro yu den de gyula ya bo che ba je ne solde che da ne la me jan de na wa chin song chen ne la me ku song to sum de rang ni di lunga yi sum da yer me de gyor song sam che ne 로도 남바시에 책든저에 매 냠도네 소예딘라.
Okay, next is visualizing in form Guru Rinpoche, in essence, our own root Guru above our crown, and visualizing this for the sake of the proper Dharma practice, specifically for the sake of the practice of the preliminary Dharma. We visualize this in order to make our preliminary Dharma practice very proper and productive. And we ask for the blessings, and after receiving the proper blessings, then we from our body, speech, mind become one with our guru, and afterwards then we are chanting the words of the four mind changing. So please follow me in doing this.
Balden zawe lama rimbo dage joro beme de la kadin jembe gone jezon kozon to je saldo zo de zum sanje dam je jengo lama rimbo je je dage ju menje dolora jenje labdos Sablam je doba je bara je jula je wara je je labdo se denye la wa sal zoba je lamjo dar je bara je je labdo zo de zum san je dam mo lama rembo je je dage ju men je dol wara je je labdo zo Sablam je doba je bara je jula je wara je labdo se denye la wa sal zoba je bel tar je bara je je labdo zo de zum san je dam je je ngu lama rimbo je je dage ju men je dol wara je je labdo Sablam je doba je bara je jula je wara je je labdo se denye la wa sal zoba je lamjo dar je bara je je labdo zo sawa dev zo lama rimbo Dungwe mbedo jinjin che jinjin kalme dala reza juli Duye yermen je bara jinjin lo Yema dage juje kane ja taljoro din shindo nye baranga Tune jizo nizon jila kewa drupe longa majun Renje lingne donglo wanyendo kalde juje bemba mat Chini milu nye ba galanjo Dada debe korwo arabji Lede milu tembe Ngöndro Dongala some sebe jazo la korya sebe nyumo Jalwa namje lenge dala ze lenye danz Khenpo tamje tamze balan jeme dado ze chola chobe tuni niyo Longmen de la le lo niwa Tangwe nyeme dane nyingre je Jema jifu de de ling Kozum de je danyom ngangne Lama ye dam namje tu zhe je Khenpo namje kaye je bang Dewe dani minyal yarla Chungse je jang sonam jewe Gewe jawa taldo julan chu La so Ni yang dini nga zo Ngöndro kum go bare Kaya zana Zo be chang ju Top go yo bay na An top je ji lam Zo de sem chue dire Ane sem chue go yo na en choji je tablam de la Ngöndro ngoshi che jire basana medo Ngöndro je na ngoshi jire ba ni lege yure eni da Ngöndro de la ne tumongchi Ngöndro tumin nangi Ngöndro sana de remendo ni lege yure tena na dana ngazo tumongchi Ngöndro de eni gaje sheshin ba yin.
So now we are doing the practice of the preliminary Dharma. And then generally for the attainment of the perfect Buddhahood, we need to practice the perfect, the correct path. And then this path is about, transforming our mind. And for this, the method, it's kind of lays out in the practice of the preliminary Dharma, main body Dharma, as well as conclusions. And within those, then we are doing the first, the practice, which is a preliminary. And for this, there are two types, the common preliminary and the uncommon preliminary practice. And within those, we are talking about the common preliminary practice.
Da dangbo tumongchi Ngöndro lodo namba shesa na mendo korwa la ngebar jungwe je lamde la yakbo manju ba yina ene tumi nangi Ngöndro de puyo dagbo jung togi mebare tumi nangi Ngöndro puyo dagbo je ma jungwe yina en lamde ngwe shi de ne puyo dagbo je yungu mare chezan dangbo ane korwa la lodo be chwe de zo ene nyamne nangu go yore.
So then this general or the common preliminary practice of the four mind changings is not practiced well, then the the uncommon preliminary practice or the inner preliminary practice would not be productive or would not go well. And if this the practice the may the uncommon preliminary practice it doesn't go well, then the main practice of the Dharma path won't be also productive. So therefore, we have to practice the common preliminary Dharma first in a proper way.
Ni da di nega tsu de nga zo sem je kukuro wa lui dang namgyur do chue kukure de lui dang namgyur chue de yang sem chue je tab do doshe kukuro de sem chue je tablom la ma chin ba che ane sobu chue ta chue ba tene ta chek ba dang ane sanje je namza namba che ane sem chue ma nu na te zam pen do me ba re di yang ane sem chue je tablom la do to ba ju kukuro de ane ta ta chek ba dang 고요 ngurming magum ba yina yang ane sem chue je tablam lo do she ba yina tian de ge yure tin ji de nga zo sem chue tab ji che do dan nga zo lo do na ma shi ko mi shin ba re.
So then the main the essence of the practice is changing mind, transforming our mind, our the physical body or the appearance. If we change those things, appearance and the physical bodies, and it has to be in a way that accords or helps to change our mind. If it doesn't help to change the mind, then it's not a good change, the change of the physical body and the appearance, so forth. Cutting hairs or wearing the monastic robe, so forth. These are changes, but if these changes doesn't help us to change our mind, then they are not very effective or the proper change. But if they help us to change, of course, our mind, the actual the subject or the most powerful one, then it's good, right? But if they do not change, the outer appearance changes do not help us to change the mind, then they are not very good. And as long as there are anything that help us to change our mind, then it's a good practice anyway.
onda dinde ne semjebe tap ni daljurnya gawada seme dabada le junje sumbo de ngazo samlo dang sin ne ta dan ngazo koru nyeme de ne samlo ne tongshin ba yimbare dila da ro ro chi tungal samlo da da chera ro re samlo da dinde yungu yure tenane da ngazo chi samlo dang sinje ta chera re la le de du ta nyawa nang la samlo dang shin ba yimba ta nyawa chanyal je da chanyal che samlo dang sa wa re ani de langma de zo ta ka le yang samlo dang gi.
So then, for this mind changing practice, the four mind changing practice, the first one, the difficulties of finding freedoms and riches, and then the impermanence and so forth we have already covered. Now we are at the point of talking about the defects of the samsara, and in these they are generally the general defects as well as the specific defects. We have already talked about the general defects of the samsara, and now we are at the point of talking about the specific defects of the samsara. And within these, we have already talked about the specific defects or the and the sufferings of the four of the eight the hot hells and the cold hells, right? In the last sessions, and now we will continue from this.
Dang ngama zo chanyal danyal she yong de te ro nyawa de ngama yore da yo mare sana ke je she bai na ta le je na war wa sama le je nam do ma se ba te se par du ka ya nang ge yore te ngola ka ya yo de re le je nam do sana min do le ngam ba se so na ta de ngola nang ge yo mare la yo mare ko ra le nang la ra le ge yo wa ni te ni de su le ngam ba che yo na te ngola nang ge re yo re.
Okay, then we have talked about these eight hot hells and the cold hells, and the wondering about whether these cold hells and the hot hell exist or not. And it basically depends on our karma, and that they are experienced. We experience these due to our karma, and because we have accumulated all different kinds of karma, so therefore we get to experience these kind of extreme sufferings or the defects of the samsara. And once these karmic the imprints are kind of they kind of exhausted, then we no longer kind of experience these grief or the defects of samsara. They are mainly dependent on our karmic the imprints.
Tanga zo aleng da nye tse nye kor nye nyawa nye nane da nye kor nye nyawa ko la ane samlo tangwa yina nye kor se de da sanyal den zo je ta kore la ane ne yubi ane keche she yung yure ane da shung kache nang la sanyal nang ne oksho la dine narme yure narme ji ta kore la ane yubi keche she yung yure da di chokre re la ane nye kor ji nyawa hi dang samre re la ne re che be de ne churu ne che ne samshi la che be nishu ne yore de se yore.
So then, within the the hell, the hell beings or the hell realms of the neighborings, as well as the yeah, ephemeral. And these two, hell realms are believed to be within the kind of in the vicinity of the hot hells. The the lowest, the hottest hot hells, the below that, then it is said those two, the neighboring hells and ephemeral hells lie. And generally the description is like at the in that realms, and then the at the four corners, or the 16 direction, or 20, multiplies into 20, the four directions, and then four others, which multiplies into sub the corners, that becomes 16 or even 20s. And these are kind of the the picture, or general, the presentations of these two realms, the hell realms, ephemeral, and the neighboring hells.
narme la soba sanyal ji le ji namin de chungse sabdu ro yong du ni samjen de dele tarne ni chirul do lebdo yore de lebdu ni sa ja khaje la de ni tes timna yo ba do da na sa chibdu chibu do na ta ya bo de ne je tong do yore de ton da ju yang no tren ne pa ge le ba da ni lamzam me 메모를 우르세고와 아니 소보 제가 말씀 로지다 아니 묘묘 연재 로지 매 넘버대요 봐 되는 날로 주 아니 소보 sama 메시 야 대용도잖아 아니 강바가 말하기도 sama 아니 색로요래 야 제교도 마스도 그래 야 말리변데 샴바데 아니 색된데 진데데 동안 유능보 냥네네 내고 다 된데 동안 냥게요래 아니 다랑니 소소 디로 사절라 렙데요 바나 디로 동안 용 대바지 다 용이 규조데 다 콩로레 되여와 는 콩로 제발라서 발란 줘봐 디로 섬지 동안 용 완전도라 닝제 아니 소소 디로 동안 용이나 되는 용을 서로와 간데 섬로 당내네 쇼로나
Okay, then the generally the whole these kind of hot hells experience very extremes. And then for those beings, it's like neighboring hell beings, they sometimes get to experience kind of experience where they feel that they are a bit relieved, or the kind of freed from the extreme, the hotness. And then sometimes they feel they could run away for a while. And then when they try to run, then after a while they fall into a burning pit, or the burning kind of hole. And then they are completely burned in the hole. When they try to climb out from the pit, the burning fire flaming pit, then they are kind of they could not, right? They're completely burned from all parts, from their hand, from their arms, and so forth. So they never, even though sometimes they feel there is a kind of you know slight freedoms, but actually that's not the freedoms. They still, or fall back into burning hole, you know and then they get to experience tremendous suffering, right? And if then we can imagine ourselves experiencing these. And basically the causes of these experience we are encountering are are our hatred and attachment and so forth. Because of these bad and afflictive emotion, then we are experiencing these kind of extreme hell beings, the hotness, a burning experience. So now please take a few minutes and contemplate about this realm.
나서 단데네 동알 데네 뇽뇽데 단데네 발로 저저저저 용도 아니 다른 뭐네 아니 죽주 샴보 로저 동 나와샤 나네 되서 윤릉보릉라 깔베 릉데라 레다 냐워 소소 좀비 되서 릉동 망보지 동안 용다여와 데네 윤릉보지 아니 출라서 뭐 통만용 타그로 운데 통인데랑 신이니 꼼베 나와는데 샤 되네 봐 조샤로네 조보드네 저거 난다더니 메슈 좀 바르준들레니 타르고나 샤네 아니 추데는 추르고이래 추데는 추와단 추 추바단 양 추양다 버제 되네 당 닝저 동에 가요 말에 추데데네 가서 추라메야 라그래 아니 가서 그래 담 담첨보지 차 주르도고요. 다디 담나라 가리 소자 되는 키라오나 된도 센산 담다당 주센소도당 아니 추나 요가 섬진 직소로 망보 윤네다 로냐게 담양스기로 로 된조 상마 짝디 남바도던 줄 된조제는 소보 소보 된조 가서 다 추나 갈네 파로로 되거나 샤르기요래. 저 가서 타는 뭐 효주요래. 되는 파게를 양 타르사로제 나와 여바 나와도제 샤 then they part dog rendu subudin zola simzin zo jane so cha igong ta na don zo jip then they tongal nyong nyo de ne palon dog na de ne shar ge yore dilan chu ramesa na mendo ronya ye dam diro dongal ane so zo nyongwa ane samlo dang ane diro ngo zo nyong simjin de zola ningje kom o de ne chu na ro na.
Okay, next. Then, in that way, we are experiencing tremendous suffering and we are trying to run away from it. And, we are, whole times, on a escape mission, kind of, always running. And we also, at the same time, feel we are, on the other side, with kind of, there's water, rivers. We kind of feel that we see something like that, on the other side. And then we try to run, over to that side and escape from this burning, hell realms. And, since we are, kind of entrenched in the hell realm for very, very long time, then we are very thirsty and we are burned for whole time. So we are very thirsty. And then, in our visions, there's always a water on the other side, and we want to run over there, so on that side, to get some waters, right? So, or at least also escape from the burning fires. But then at the end, when we actually get to the water side, actually they are not really waters. It is just the uh, the kind of mud, on the hole of mud, and then we just fall into the mud. When we get there, we fall into the mud, and then the muddy, the land is also filled with all the scary animals such as dog and the sea, animals such as crocodile and so forth. And then we are being eaten by those animals. And even though at the beginning we went there for the sake of waters, but then at the end we end up being eaten, swollen, you know swallowed by those the yeah, terrifying animals, and then our body is bleeding, and then pus coming out, infested, so forth, and it's the entire experience is very, very terrible. Yeah. So then we can visualize ourselves, if we are in that situations, then how terrible would that be, and then we can also generate compassion for those who are actually in that situation or in that hell realms. Now please take a few minutes and yeah, do this visualization.
다 된데 동al nyongne tini pe dozoringbo chila tini do yongde do nina tagringbo ne tini pagala ne pangjong panga nyingjo dende tong ta del ta ngazo tu dana dongal kazo nyongna nyonde panga dela lepso na dewa chungsa topore rembe ne rewa te chang tini kala jamde lo mangbo dawa mangbo kala jamde chenji chu dila galsa wachila panga la lep do gore panga dela lepa dang yang panga nyingjo da yakbo dende tonga kaya yo mare 상마 천자지를 담는 준에 방가 짜든죠. 네 천자 남발을 줄. 되네 강바 지 샤정도 네 디 상만도 동부 땅. 아니 야짝 용도잖아. 양 소여도 그래. 되네 수바 파리 수리 야제 마제 되네 수바 강바 네 방가 지 짜든죠. 안 상마 천자지를 용도 되네 수바 동부 땅 20배 어떤데 제 동al 축정부 뇽내는 로고고 요래 되는 다른 볼라 양 셴바 타르서 여바도당 아니 사제 셴바지 통로고 요래 대동도 다 딜레버에 라와자는 모드네 동al 가서 뇽나야 되는 거양 로단 다와 망버저는 깔레 망보 잠내더니 동al 뇽은 로고 요래 왔다 된데 저는 동al 다 레진 넘버는 비도지 마세버도 다 동al도 뇽네 로고로 와다 소소대로 동al 뇽심바 인 삼로당 무슨 영경 삼전도로네 닝제 공부되는 전에 교수 나오나.
Okay, then like that we are experiencing this tremendous suffering for for very, very long times, never-ending times, and then during that long period, we sometimes experience as if we are seeing a grassland on the other side, and then feel just reaching the grassland on the other side, then we will be able to free ourselves from these sufferings, and then we try to run for with that hope, run for months and the years, and for a very very long time, and crossing the rivers and mountains and so forth, and then try to reach to that grassland. And but then when we actually reach the grassland, then grassland are not usual grassland, normal grassland, natural grassland. Grasslands are kind of area where it was full of different weapons such as knives, spears, and so forth. And then once you step onto the grassland, your feet, your foot cut, and then when you pull out your pull out your foot, then your body is also striking with the other weapons, and then you are kind of chopped into pieces in a way, many different pieces, and you are thrown back and forth, left and right, so forth, and you get to experience the tremendous, unimaginable, the sufferings in that ways, and for years and years, you try to run away from the suffering, but at the end, you end up being in such a places, where get your body into cut into many pieces, and striking with the different weapons from all directions, and these are in a way unimaginable sufferings, and so now we can kind of visualize that we are ourselves are experiencing the hell realm in that way, and then we can also generate compassion for those other who are experiencing the same thing, same suffering. Yeah, please do that for a moment.
나서 되네. 단디로 동al 요는 뭐 로단다오 뭐 뇽네 로용되네 다른 뭐는 싱나 네 데나통 단데라네 슬보 요바다 닝조 요베진 나와데네 샤 네 사동지 남바 요바든 저 로저 타그로문에 데네 통로 요래 다깔레 가서 하나 사전들 레베지는 로로로 레병도 통어서 싱노나 레바당 양나온 요르고 요래 행동도 로마든도 상마야니 가서 랄제다 부지다 아니 천자되는 줄 농식 좀 파요 소유 되는 로마든도당 ялга든도 천자주로는 소소소불로 복도 안 락바강바든도 제 제네 양코 소유 연구열에 양 tak go tumro gore tene samjin char ramanda le byong gore cha denzo chudo denzo chak ji chudo yung denzo kang le denzo jani mi denzo te ane leba denzo nangla tene go denzo igong bo lega ba denzo sa tene chin tungal yang lo dawo mong ba nyong 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 tene ro go go yosare tiro tungal nyong song samla da ane hen nyong ga samje la ning je kom rangni ji ta tiro che je kyul le da nyong che ba la ne gyo ba che ba de ne je ne kyu samla da ro na.
So then, in that way, we are continuously experiencing the sufferings, and well, in that situations, then we also tend to see, the forest on the other side of the realms, and which is and destinations to escape, right? So the forest is full of food and drinks, and also seems to be very cool and not hot or burning at all. So then we wanted to escape to the forest, to that forest, and on the way we kind of make a lot of effort, takes endure a lot of sufferings for months and years, and then try to reach there. And then when we reach there, actually the forests are again not natural forests, and the forests are kind of yeah. Again, another place where we get to experience tremendous sufferings in the forest. The trees are the trees turns into all different kinds of weapons, such as knives, and the your trees branch and the leaves all transformed into all different kinds of weapons that that injures us or harms us, and then the wind blows the entire the forest, and then we are cut into many different pieces, and then upon that the birds and with a scary big RM big actually RM big, and they come over, and then they kind of gawk our ice balls. They take our ice balls, and so the experience so very very tremendous, and we have to endure this experience for months and the years, and for a very very long time, and so now we can visualize ourselves are actually experiencing this kind of tremendous suffering in that way, and then we can also generate compassion for those who are experiencing the suffering in the same way, and then at the same time we try to kind of regret for our misdeeds, for being so misdeeds, for kind of getting for experiencing these tremendous sufferings. So please take a few minutes and visualize it in this way.
다 된데 제 디시보 디 찬열 된소 저 초레레 레란디로 시시시 제변에 주로 연구요래 다 된데 되네 다디 초진에 다른 용도 디시 동안 용화당 되는 마양 된지 행동 망보여서 되는 된 바로 다른 용도서냐 바게라 양 신닝조나 야보된데 동조고요래 대담나 레바당 나와 담진 요르네 아니 행동지 세들라드는 소소진데 나르지드는 그 링용 유비미 아니 가로라서 봐 된서 통 들라드는 런주지 나와샤 된 행동자라는 자연의 행동 상만이 로마상마 카말라 된자니 랄제라서 봐도 천재 남발은 유 된서는 소보는 이공 되는 섬지 마순의 야를 드비 나와드네 샤 자 된제 나신제네 자리 나만다 비위리 나만다 렘네 ene sobo denzo la ma so toba denzo igung leba denzo ji mi denzo tön da dende je na wa char yong gore da ya le yong de ne yang ka ri ka sa xing dong zhe le zao sa wa da yang dende ge yo ma re yang dende je so so je ngar je ring yong yo ba da ga ro la so ba ne ma wo xing dong yo la yu me na wa char ya ma la pap ko na char 권한샤인데 행동 로마지 제든 상마야 야라든지 천전 남부냐 소부tum보도 뭐다 근데 전에 두저rum보 저런 동알되는 용도고요 다디 냐와지 칠로로 유비아니 초시 마연바지 삼시라 안되는 용고요 다데 집에 동알 주주버는도되니 양내 양도되니 레지 타카로지 만조버도 이 동알 용고고요 바래요 쓰고요 다디 소소 동알 용외니
So in that way, the four direction around these hotel realms, and then the each direction there are four, and in total there's 16 different types of realms, or the tremendous the unbearable experience, right? And yeah, just like the previous one, then we tend to sometimes we tend to see trees, very beautiful attractive trees, and then when we try to reach the tree, and then on on the top of trees, our previous boyfriends, girlfriends, or acquaintance are kind of appearing, and then we want to climb up to the tree top, and then when we try to climb up to the tree top, then entire tree, the branches, especially the branches, they're turned into different weapons, and then we are cut into pieces. And they're not only that, then so many birds and monkeys and other animals, scary animals, and come over, and then they eat us. They take out our eyeballs. The birds take out our the eyeballs, and then other animals eat our bodies, and they suck our the brain, so forth. And so in that way, the experience is really unimaginable in that way. And then in another ways, experience will be like, when we reach the top of a tree, then our boyfriend or girlfriend or acquaintance appears to be on the ground, and then we wanted to climb down. But when we try to climb down, then the entire leaves on the ground, they tend into weapons, and then they kind of shot onto us, and we are again, split into many pieces, thousands pieces, and then everything on the animals around, they take all these pieces or eat us in a way. So in that way, these 16, say, the corners, or the the corners or the aspects around the four around the hotels are kind of experienced in that way, and we ourselves kind of uh, uh, experiencing it in that way, and then yeah, we visualize it in that way, and then for those who are also experiencing uh, it in that way like us, we have to generate compassions. So please now do that, yeah, for a few minutes.
나서 다 되네 제베다 냐와 된존지 동알데 나좀 미 지든지 동알라 삼노다나 아니 샤라지 동알 채워yin 쓰게 요래 나랑 좀미 르라니 가서 소불 엄마때 소와나 디지 또 봐나 돌록데 차랑진 데스만년 봐나 근데 남제 사람만년 발라서 봐다 된대 지금 원에 삼중나야 나도 다 강에 쉬우진 양도 와 냐와 된소 telani 대인조래 동안 근데 샤라기 아니 차와차가 요래 네 배나 나도 미치라 아니 송가나 다네 아니 가르서 그래 니마레레 신도네 둥 아니 숨자 되는 쪽 신야마주 손야 다고 신의 신야마주 바제 농숨자 중데 대바이나 는 강사들한테 동al 가져 요사래. 또 동al 쇼지 전부로 와. 레다 냐외 동al 나네 충쇼지 세바바다 디진 다롱디니 가서 그래. 자주 동줄지니 디 동al 쉬고 쳐와더니 소라더니 뇽그래서는 되네지는 손난 거 요래. 딱고 냐와 나랑 좀미 류된들 거서 텐투고 매바나 자원만 간대 가서 다 땡이면서 하고 두고 요마로와 ngos nyongde kapso ene de kange sharacha yore singu yore ta dende jene dongal de yobadan la ne chokz na samlodaro na
Okay, and then the suffering of the hell beings, compared to the suffering of the human realms, and then there are very extremes and unimaginables. In human realms, generally, if we get a cut on our bodies or a small wound, or if we do not get enough clothes to wear, or if the weather is not very pleasant, we get to experience tremendous suffering, right? uh, but compared to these sufferings, then the the hell realm suffering is you know unimaginable. And let's say, for example, if a person in human realm, he is confined in prison, you know, in prison house, and then every day he was stricken was spared for 300 times, and that would be actually very, very terrible, right? That person will be completely, the terrified or tortured, to an extreme level, right? But it says these sufferings of a person in a prisons, compared to the uh, uh, the lightest in the sufferings of the hell realms, compared to that, then it is nothing, right? It says the lightest the hell realm suffering will be 100,000 times worse than this the prisoners experience suffering, it says, right? So then generally the hell realms experience a very, very frightening and very to extremely unbearable and unimaginable. So now please take a few minutes and contemplate that the hell realms experience are, yeah, like that, unimaginable.
so tienen Ngöndro beja jugdine nyamdo songro nang.
Please follow me, changing the rest of the wonder text.
Jeye rolba jembe gilguro teje zanga jebe gewat tuzum zabe gezo gundo lame janjo nyamburo ngowaranji sonam di taye joa gun jena zawe barje gunji remne lamje joba darje Pema jalbe goba nyurdo jo Zadyo la me je la mne la Yedam kanro le dan trepshen Chodyon son me barje gonza Chodyon ngudro drbe daje jo Oma ome dranguro be mazed O beje de leje bo yejene O zanyo me kaye dame Sonjo wan bejo dara ngona Rajen drol be shenjo be mawe Chönyi ngon som jaze de le lo nyam nangko me shal me ganjen re ma ze be ba wo drage chöze lo de do je lo garanju de de me kombo dai enyen je de re je jana be mo Gozum gonde je me do de Kandor do be zenjo de lazo Zendango ye namro dale be judro Wanjembe dunzandr Dajen kanyam ye je jazo Zende be ma dando je warajo Deyare zenam je zelam la denengo Na ye je jazo Zoye la mengo ba nyurdo Rajen de nye lunye ro barajo De me je da ere me be manjo ranand Be zando barej Na re ere me manjo nyume De ne nam da jing Gewarajo kando jewe jewa damje dore yonde dunde do bara Yema dado jeda jejuru ne zulje jube rawa Jodo nene nyembe dundrum de sedre sebe jazo galo Sembara dambe chera abdun je sheben drupla dyongala me labjen shenden jore me bai tamje jamje sanje do bara jo lazo ane tsangma la to je shugi ane koso to jana ane ngazo chamba jayong
This week